Ugrasrava Sauti, the son of Lomaharsana, rested in the Puranas, while present in the forest of Naimicha, at the 12-year sacrifice of Saunaka, surnamed Kulapate. He stood before the rishis in the Talmans. Heaven stood the Puranas with meticulous devotions, and those being thoroughly acquainted with them, he addressed them with joint hands, thus: I have graphically described to ye the histories of Utanka with his own of the cause of King Jaramejaya's snake sacrifice. What reverend sir do ye wish to hear now? What shall I relate to ye? The whole man replied, O son of Lomaharsana, we shall ask thee about what we are anxious to hear, and thou wilt recount the tales one by one. Saunaka, or Reverend Master, is at present attending in the apartments of the Holy Fire. He is acquainted with those divine histories which related to the gods and asuras. He adequately knoweth the history of men, serpents, and Gandhiharvas. Further, O Sauti, in this sacrifice that learned Brahmana is the chief. He is able, faithful to his vows, wise a master of the Sihastras and the Aranyaka, a speaker of truth, a lover of peace, a mortifier of the flesh, and an observer of the penance according to the authoritative decrees. He is respected by us all. It behoves us therefore to wait for him, and when he is seated on his highly respected seat, thou wilt answer what that best of the visions shall ask of thee. Sauti said, Be it so. And when the highly solid master have been seated, I shall narrate a question by him, sacred histories on a variety of subjects. After a while, that excellent Brahmana, having duly finished all his duties, and having propitiated the gods with prayers, and the men with oblations of water, came back to the place of sacrifice, where we Sauti seated before us the assembly of sons of rigid vows sitting at ease. And when Saunaka was seated in the midst of the Hitivikas and Sadhiyas, who were all in their cities, he spake as followeth. Saunaka said, Child, thy father formerly reading whole of the Puranas, O son of Lomaharsana, and the Mahabharata with Krishna Divaya Payana, hast thou also made them thy study. In those ancient records are chronicled interest histories and the histories of the first generation of the wise men, of which we heard being rehearsed by thy sire. In the first place, I am desirous of hearing the history of the race of Bihirigu. Recount thou that history. We shall attentively listen to thee. Sauti answered, By me have been acquired all that was formerly studied by the high-souled Brahmanas, including my son Payana, and repeat by them. By me have been acquired all that had been studied by my father, O descendant of the Bihirigu race, attendant to so much as relateth to the exalted race of Bihirigu. He varied by Indra in all the gods, by the tribes of the His and Marutas. O great Muni, in shall first properly recount the history of this family, as told in the Puranas. The great and blessed Saint Bihirigu, we are informed, was produced by the self-existing Brahma from the fire at sacrifice of Varuna, and Bihirigu had a son named Kyavana, whom he dearly loved, and to Kyavana was born a virtuous son called Pramati, and Pramati had a son named Huru by Giritakhi. And to Huru, Osbach, his wife, Pramadevara, was born a son whose name was Sunaka. He was, O Saunaka, thy great ancestor, exceedingly virtuous in his ways. He was devoted to asceticism, of great reputation, proficient in law, and eminent among those who have the knowledge of the Veda. He was virtuous, truthful, and of well-regulated fare. Saunaka said, O son of Sutta, I ask thee why the illustrious son of Bihirigu was named Kyavana. Do tell me how. Sauti replied, Bihirigu had a wife named Pauloma, whom he dearly loved. She became big with child by Bihirigu, and one day while the virtuous continent Pauloma was in that condition, Bihirigu, great among those that are true to their religion, leaving her at home, went out to perform his ablution. It was then that the Rakshasa, called Pauloma, came to Bihirigu about, and entering his abode, the Rakshasa saw the wife of Bihirigu, irreproachable in everything, and seeing her he became filled with lust, and lost his sense. The beautiful Pauloma entertained the Rakshasa, thus arrived, with roots and fruits of the forest. And he, Rakshasa, who burned with desire upon seeing her, became very much delighted, and resolved, O good sage, to be her away who was so blameless in every respect. My design is accomplished, said the Rakshasa, and so seizing that beautiful matron he carried her away. And indeed she of agreeable smile and be betrothed by her father himself to him. Afterwards the former subsequently bestowed her, according to due rites, on Bihirigu. O thou of the Bihirigu race, this wound hunkered deep in the Raksasa's mind, and he thought the present moment a very good opportunity for carrying the lady away. And the Rakshasa saw in the apartment in which the sacrificial fire was kept burning brightly. The Rakshasa then asked the flaming element, Tell me, O Agni, whose wife this woman rightful is? Thou art the month of gods, therefore thou art bound to answer my question. This lady of superior complexion had been first accepted by me as wife, but her father subsequently bestowed her on the false Bihirigu. Tell me truly if this fair one can be regarded as the wife of Bihirigu, for having found her alone, I have resolved to bear away by force from the hermitage. My heart burneth with rage when I reflect that Bihirigu have got possession of this woman of slender ways, first betrothed to myself. Sauti continued, In this manner the Rakshasa asked the flame god of fire again and again whether the lady was Bihirigu's wife, and the god was afraid to return an answer. Thou, O god of fire, said he, resides continually with every creature, as witness of their merits and demerits. O thou respected one, then answer my question truly. Has not Bihirigu appropriated her who was chosen by me as my wife? Thou shouldest declare truly whether, therefore she is my wife by first choice. After thy answer as to whether she is the wife of Bihirigu, I will bear her away from this hermitage, even in sight of thee. Therefore answer thou truly. Sauti continued. The seven flame god, having heard these words of the Rakshasa, became exceedingly distressed, being afraid of telling a falsehood, and equally afraid of the Bihirigu curse. And the god at length made answer in words that came out slowly. This Pauloma was indeed first chosen by thee, O Rakshasa, but she was not taken by thee with all rites and invocations. But this far-famed lady was bestowed by her father on Bihirigu as a gift from the desire of blessing. She was not bestowed on thee. O Rakshasa, this lad was duly made by the Vihirigu, his wife, with Vedic reads in my presence. This is she, I know her, I dare not speak a falsehood. O thou best of the Rakshasa, falsehood is never respected in this world. Sauti said, O Brahmana, having heard these words from the god of fire, the Rakshasa assumed the form of a boar, and seizing the lady carried her away with the speed of the wind, even of fog. Then the child of Vihirigu, lying her board, enraged at such violence, dropped from his mother's womb, for which he obtained the name of Kyavana. And the Rakshasa, perceiving the infant drop from the mother's womb, shining like the sun, quitted his grasp of the woman, fell down and was instantly covered into ashes. And the beautiful Pauloma, distracted with grief, O Brahmana of the Vihirigu race, took up her offspring, Kyavana, the son of Vihirigu, and walked away. And Brahma, the grandfather of all, himself saw her, the faithless wife of his son, weeping. And the grandfather of all comforted her who was attached to her son. And the drops of tears which rolled down her eyes formed the great river. And that river began to follow the footsteps of the wife of the great ascetic Vihirigu. And the grandfather of the world, seeing that river, followed the path of his son's wife, gave it a name himself, and he called it Vadihusara. And it passeth by the hermitage of Kyavana. And in this manner was born Kyavana of great ascetic power, the son of Vihirigu. And Vihirigu saw his child Kyavana and its beautiful mother, and he in a rage asked her, By whom was made thou know to that Rakshasa, who resolved to carry thee away? O thou of agreeable smile, the Rakshasa could not know thee as my wife. Therefore tell me who it was that told the Rakshasa so, in order that I may curse him full anger. And Pauloma replied, O possessor of the 6 attributes, I was identified to the Rakshasa by Agni, and he hurled me away, who cried like the Kurari. And it was only by the ardent splendor of this thy son that I was rescued. For the Rakshasa let me go, and himself falling to the ground was turned into ashes. Sauti continued. Vihirigu, upon hearing this account from Pauloma, became exceedingly enraged, and in excess of passions did cursed Agni, saying, Thou shalt eat of all things. Sauti said, The god of fire engaged at the curse of Vihirigu. This addressed his. What meaneth this harshness, O Brahmana, that thou hast displayed toward me? What transgression can be imputed to me who was laboring to do justice and speak the truth impartially? Being asked, I gave the true answer, a witness who, when interrogated about the fact of which he hath knowledge, representeth otherwise than it is, ruineth his ancestor and descendants both to the 7th generation. He too, who being fully cognizant of all the particulars of an affair, doth not disclose what he knoweth, when asked, is undoubtedly stained with guilt. I can always curse thee, but Brahmanas are held by me in high respect. All folk these are known to thee. O Brahmana, I will yet speak of them, so please attend. Having by ascetic power multiplied myself, I am present in various forms in place of the daily Roma, at the sacrifice extending for years, in place where all rites are performed, and at other sacrifice. With the butter that is poured upon my flame, according to the instructions prescribed in the Vedas, the Devas and the Pitris are appeased. The Devas are the waters, the Pitris are also the waters. The Devas have with the Pitris an equal right to the sacrifice called Arsas and Purnamasas. The Devas therefore are the Pitris, and the Pitris the Devas. They are identical beings, worshipped together and also separately at the sense of the moon. The Devas and the Pitris eat what is poured upon me. I am therefore called the mouth of the Devas and the Pitris. At the new moon the Pitris, and at the full moon the Devas, are fed through my mouth, eating of the clarified butter that is poured on me. Being as I am their mouth, who am I to be an eater of all things? Then Agni, after reflecting for a while, withdrew himself from our place, from place of the daily Homa, of the Brahmanas, from our long-standing sacrifice, from placas of whole rites, and from other ceremonies, without their alms and vazhats, and deprived of their sivadhas and sivahas. The whole board of the creatures became much distressed at the loss of their fire. These, in great anxiety, went to the gods and addressed them thus: Ye immaculated beings, the three regions of the universe are confounded at the cessations of their sacrifice and ceremonies in consequence of the loss of fire. Oh, then what is to be done in this matter, so that there may be no loss of time? Then the rishis and the gods went together into the presence of Brahma, and they represented to him all about the curse on Agni and the consequent interruption of all ceremonies, and they said, O thou greatly fortunate, whose Agni hath been cursed by Pihirigu for some reason, indeed, being the mouth of the gods, and always the first who eateth of what is offered in sacrifice, the eater of the sacrificial butter, how will Agni be reduced to the condition of one who eateth of all things promiscuously? And the Creator of the universe, hearing these woes of their summoned Agni to his presence, and Brahma addressed Agni, the Creator of all and eternal as himself, in these gently words: Thou art the Creator of the worlds, and thou art their destroyer. Thou preservest the three worlds, and thou art the promoter of all sacrifice and ceremonies. Therefore behave thyself so that ceremonies be not interrupted. And know, thou eater of the sacrificial butter, why dost thou act so foolish, being as thou art the Lord of all? Thou alone art always poor in the universe, and thou art its stay. Thou shalt not with all thy body be reduced to the state of one who eateth of all things promiscuously. O thou of flames, the flame that is in thy various parts shall alone eat of all things alike. That boar of thine which eateth of shall also eat of all things promiscuously. And as a very thing touched by the sun rays becometh poor, so shall everything be poor that shall be burned by thy flames. Thou art, O fire, the supreme energy born of thy own power. Then, O Lord, by that power of thine, make this curse come true. Continue to receive thy own portion and that of the gods, offering at thy mouth. Sauti continued, Then Agni replied to the grandfather, "So be it." And he then went away to obey the command of the Supreme Lord. The gods and the His owed honor in the light to the place whence they came, and the His began to perform as before their ceremonies and sacrifice. And the gods in heaven and all creatures of the world rejoiced exceedingly. And Agni too rejoiced in that he was free from the prospect of sin. Thus, O possessor of the six attributes, had Agni been cursed in the days of yore by Behirigu, and such is the ancient history connected with the destruction of the Rakshasa Pauloma and the birth of Kyavana. Sauti said, "O Brahman, Kyavana, the son of Behirigu, begot a son in the womb of his wife Sukanya. And that son was the illustrious Pramati of resplendent energy. And Pramati begot in the womb of Giritaki a son called Huru. And Huru begot on his wife Pramadivara a son called Sunaka. And as are related to you in detail, O Brahmana, the entire history of Huru of abundant energy. O listen to it then in full. Formerly, there was a great he called Sitihulakesha, possessed of ascetic power, and lovely and kindly, disposed toward all creatures. At that time, O Brahmana sage, Visvasu, the king of the Gandhiravas, it is said, had intimates with Menaka, the celestial dancing god, and the Apsara Menaka, O thou of the Behirigu race, when her time was come, brought forth an infant near the hermitage of Sitihulakesha, and dropping the newborn infant on the banks of the river, O Brahmana, Menaka, the Apsara, being destitute of pity and shame, went away. And his Sitihulakesha, of great ascetic power, discovered the infant lion forsaking a lonely part of the river side, and he perceived that it was a female child, bright as the offspring of immortal and blazing, as it were with beauty. And the great Brahmana Sitihulakesha, the first of Munis, seeing that female child and filled with compassion, took it up and healed it. And the lovely child grew up in his whole habitation. The noble-minded and blessed Hish, Sitihulakesha, performing in due succession all the ceremonies beginning with that at birth as ordained by the divine law. And because she surpassed all of her sex in godliness, beauty, and every quality, the great Hish called her by the name of Pramadivara. And the pious Huru, having seen Pramadivara in the hermitage of Sitihulakesha, became one whose heart was possessed by the god of love. And Huru, by means of his companions, made his father Pramati, the son of Behirigu, acquainted with his passion, and Pramati demanded her of the far-famed Sitihulakesha for his son. And her foster father betrothed the virgin Pramadivara to Huru, fixing the nuptial for the day when the star Varga Dayavata would be ascended. Then, within a few days of the time fixed for the nuptials, the beautiful virgin, while at play with companions of her own sex, her time having come, impelled by fate, trod upon a serpent which she did not perceive as it lay in coil, and the reptile, urged to execute the will of fate, violently darted its envenomed fangs into the body of Hidley's maiden, and stung by that serpent, she instantly dropped senseless on the ground, her color faded, and all the grace of her person went off. And with disheveled hair, she became a spectacle of home to her companions and friends. And she who was so agreeable to behold became on her death what was too painful to look at. And the girl of slender waist lay on the ground like on a sleeping beam, overcome with the poison of the snake, once more became more beautiful than in life. And her foster father and the other old ascetics who were there all saw her lie motionless upon the ground with the splendor of lotus. And then there came a noted Brahmanas, filled with compassion, and they sat around her. And Sivastiyatreya, Mahajana, Kushika, Sankiha Mekhala, Utidalaka, Katha, and Sivvita of great snow, Igardivaja, Kaunakutsia, Arstsena, Gautama, Pramati, and Pramati's son Huru, and other inhabitants of the forest came there. And when they saw that maiden lying dead on the ground, overcome with the poison of the capital that had bitten her, they all wept, filled with compassion. But Huru, mortified beyond measure, retired from the scene. While those illustrious Brahmanas were sitting around the dead body of Brahmadevara, Huru, sorely afflicted, hid her into a deep wound and wept aloud, and overwhelmed with grief he indulged in much piteous lamentation, and remembering his beloved Brahmadevara, he gave vent to his sorrow in the following words. Alas, the delicate fair one that increaseth my affliction lieth upon the background. What can be more deplored to us, her friends, if I have been charitable, if I have performed acts of penance, if I have even reverenced my superiors, let the merits of these acts restore to life my beloved one. If from my birth I have been controlling my passions, adhered to my vows, let the fair Paramadivara rise from the ground. And while Huru was indulged in this lamentation for the loss of his pride, a messenger from Kava came to him in the forest and addressed him thus. The words thou utterest, O Huru, in thy affliction are certainly ineffectual. For all pious men, none belonging to this world whose days have run out, can never come back to life. This poor child of a Gandhikharva and Apsara has had her days run out. Therefore, O child, thou shouldest not consign thy heart to sorrow. The great gods, however, have provided beforehand a means of her restoration to life, and if thou compliest with it, thou mayest receive back thy Paramadivara. And Huru replied, O masters of heaven, what is that which the gods have ordained? Tell me in full so that I may comply with it. It behoveth thee to deliver me from grief. And the celestial messenger said unto Huru, resign half of thy own life to thy bride, and then, O Huru of the race of Vihirgu, thy Paramadivara shall rise from the ground. O best of celestial messengers, a most willing offer a moiet of my own life in favor of my pride. Then let me, beloved, rise up once more in her dress and lovable form. So it said. Then the king of Gandhikharvas and the celestial messenger, both of excellent qualities, went to the god Dharma and addressed him, saying, If it be thy will, O Dharmaraja, let the amiable Pramadvara, the betrothed wife of Huru, now lie dead, rise up with a myriad of rural life. And Dharmaraja answered, O messenger of the gods, if it be thy wish, let Pramadvara, the betrothed wife of Huru, rise up onward with a myriad of Ruru's life. Sauti continued, and when the Dharmarajas had said so, that maid of superior complexion, Pramadvara, endowed with a myriad of Huru's life, rose from her slumber. These bestowed by Huru of a myriad of his own span of life to resuscitate his bride, afterwards led, as it won't be seen, to a curtailment of Huru's life. And on auspicious day, their fathers, glad married them with direitos, and the couple passed their days devoted to each other. And Huru, having obtained such wife as is hard to be found, beautiful and bright as the filaments of the lotus, made a vow for the destruction of the serpent race. And wherever he saw a serpent, he became filled with great wrath, and always killed it with a weapon. One day, Brahmana, Huru entered an extensive forest, and there he saw an old serpent of the Dudumbiha species lie stretched on the ground. And Huru thereupon lifted up in anger his staff, even like to the staff of death, for the purpose of killing it. Then the Dundumbiha, addressing Huru, said, I have done thee no harm, O Brahmana, then wherefore wilt thou slay me in anger? Sauti said, and Huru, on hearing those words, replied, my wife dear to me as life was bit by a snake, upon which took, O snake, dreadful vow, which that I won't kill every snake that might come across. Therefore shall I smite thee, and thou shalt be deprived of life. And Dundumbiha replied, O Brahmana, the snakes that bite me are quite different in type. It behoveth thee not to slay Dundumbihas, who are serpents all in name, subject like other serpents to the same calamities, but not sharing their good fortune, and all the same but enjoy different. The Dundumbihas should not be slain by thee under any misconception. Sauti continued, and his Huru, hearing these words of the serpents, and seeing that it was bewildered with fear of bite a snake of the Dundumbiha species, kill it not. And Huru, the possessor of the 6 attributes, comforting the snake, addressed it, saying, Tell me, fool, O snake, who art thou just metamorphosed? And the Dundumbiha replied, O Huru, I was formerly Rish of name Sahasrapati, and it is by the course of a Brahmana that I have been transformed into a snake. And Huru asked, O thou best of snakes, for what wast thou cursed by Brahmana in wrath? And how long shall thy form continue so? Sauti continued. The Dundumbiha then said, in former times I had a friend, Kirag Amma, by name. He was impetuous in his speech and possessed of spiritual powers by virtue of his austerities. And one day when he was engaged in the Agnihotra, I made a mock snake of blades of grass, and in a frolicky attempt to frighten him with it, and anon he fell into a swoon. On recovering his sense, the truth telling and while observing ascetic, burning with wrath, exclaimed, "Since thou hast made a poisoned mock snake to frag me, thou shalt be turned even into a venomless serpent thyself by my course." O ascetic, I well knew the power of his penance, therefore with an agitated heart I addressed him thus, bending low with joined hands: "Friend, I did this by way of joke, to excite thy laughter. It behoveth thee to forgive me and revoke thy curse." And seeing me sorely troubled, the ascetic was moved, and he replied, breathing hot and hard, "What I have said must come to pass. Listen to what I say and lay it to thy heart, O pious one. When Huru, the poor son of Pramati, will appear, thou shalt be delivered from the curse the moment thou seest him. Thou art the very Huru and the son of Pramati. On regaining my native form, I will tell thee something for thy good." And that illustrious man, and best of Brahmanas, then left his snake body, and attaining his own form and original brightness, he then addressed the following words to Guru of incomparable power: "O thou first of great beings, verily the highest virtue of man is the sparing life of others. Therefore a Brahmana should never take the life of any creature. A Brahmana should ever be mild. This is the most sacred injunction of the Vedas. A Brahmana should be versed in the Vedas and Vedangas, and should inspire all creatures with belief in God. He should be benevolent to all creatures, truthful and forgiving, even as it is his paramount duty to retain the Vedas in his memory. The duties of the Kshatriya are not thine: to be stern, to wield the scepter, and to rule the subjects properly are the duties of the Kshatriya. Listen, O Guru, to the account of the destruction of a snake at the sacrifice of Janamejayas in the days of yore, and the deliverance of the terrified reptiles by that best of the vicious, Astika, profound in Vedic lore and might in spiritual energy." Sauti continued. Guru then asked, "O best of the vicious, why was the king Janamejaya bent upon destroying the serpents? And why and how were they saved by the wise Astika? I am anxious to hear all these in detail." Dris replied, "O Guru, the important history of Astika you will learn from the lips of Brahmanas." Saying this, he vanished. So it continued. Guru ran about in search of the missing rishi, and having failed to find him in all the woods, fell down on the ground, fatigued, and revolving in his mind the words of the rishi, he was greatly confounded, and seemed to be deprived of his sense. Regaining consciousness, he came home and asked his father to relate the history in question. This asked his father relate all about the history.